Our idea was to go travel across the U.S. and try to document the DIY scene throughout the punk houses point of view, because we've both been in the U.S. before, and we were really amazed by the network punk houses had all across the country. So that was the idea.
And just also the energy that came out of it, and like what people stood for, and the creativity people had, and how much they were doing. That was really interesting. And we were just, I was kind of blown away by it, and felt like we had some kind of things similar to it in Europe, but not really this sense of community we see all around the country, within the cities, or within the houses, or even within, like, in between states and other cities. And so we just want, we kind of want to like bring it back to Europe and see what people think of it.
So what is a punk house?
What is a punk house?
So usually a punk house is a collective house where between, I'd say, 5 and 10 people live. It's usually in poor neighborhoods, so it's mostly like in the suburbs, or like not, mostly. And people try to live as cheaply as possible so they can do art projects. There's different punk houses. Some people are more into visual arts, some of them are more into music, and most of the time they have house shows where it's donation based, and usually houses are open to anyone who wants to stay there, like travelers and stuff.
How do they make money? Do they charge, or how do they make rent and stuff like that?
Well, some people work. Well, a lot of them are artists in some way, even though some of them don't call themselves artists, but like they do things. It goes from fixing up houses, or like gardening, to like being musicians or visual artists. And they, so some of them work, but like smaller jobs, I guess. Like, and then oldest do that, and then like go on tour, everything.
And for the shows, all the money goes to the bands. Like, I saw one house where people would keep $1 for the house on every, but that was a crappy squat in Oakland. Usually people give all the money to the bands.
Just donation-based shows, basement shows, or living room shows.
Do a lot of people go to these shows?
It depends of the city.
Yeah.
Like, there's some cities where the punk houses, like, community is way more developed, where they have a lot of punk houses, like in New Brunswick. It's
New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey. It's a college town, and they have a lot of punk houses over there. So they have a great network, and they have a festival every year where they open all the punk houses for people to see them. And in some cities, there's just one punk house, and it really depends. But usually it's like around 30 and 40 people, I would say.
Yeah, and I guess artists, touring artists, like it works out with donations. Well, sometimes it doesn't, but
the biggest scene was in Providence, because they have warehouses over there, and they have this amazing scene. And like, our friend in Providence was telling us about this show. It was Lightning Bolt playing, because they're from Providence, and it was 1,000 people in a warehouse. Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you guys, is there a difference between like East Coast and West Coast?
It seems that there's, like, the East Coast and the West Coast don't communicate that much, so, and the East Coast people will tell you that there's nothing happening on the West Coast, and on the West Coast people will tell you that they don't know anything about the East Coast.
It's very interesting.
But I think that the houses are the same everywhere, like the same way, they work the same way.
It's just that the networks are not as developed. I guess they work very much vertically, like down the coast. Like, I know a lot of like Washington bands that go down, that go on tour, like they go down to California, Arizona, Utah, maybe, and then they go back up. Like, same for the East Coast, they go like from DC down to Florida, or up to Maine or whatever. But I think it's harder to go past the Midwest. I mean, the Midwest was also different. They go like all around the Midwest, and it's longer drives, I guess.
Have you guys, have you guys like run into any, like, what are your main problems as far as like doing this?
In the trip, while doing the project?
Yeah, like
I don't think we had any major problem. So
Yeah.
far, we've been really lucky. It
Yeah.
was more about money because traveling in the U.S. has been really expensive. I think that our worst experience was in Baltimore the first time we went there because we decided to go to a hipster festival and we weren't prepared. Like, we didn't find any punk house because we didn't search that much. And we thought that hipsters were like punks, so we would find a place to sleep. Wasn't the case at all, so we had to sleep in a motel. I think that was the worst experience of the trip. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jill.
do most cities have punk houses?
Yeah.
Like bigger cities mainly?
Even in small
Yeah.
cities, like we were in Lawrence, Kansas, they have an amazing scene over there.
Bloomington, Indiana,
Bloomington, Indiana,
Brattleboro,
Mecca.
Vermont.
Yeah, everywhere.
How long
Yeah.
have you been out for now?
July 2nd.
Since July
2.5
2nd.
months.
Wow. How long is it going to go for?
Late November.
What are you guys going to do with the footage and like your interviews and all that stuff?
We'll edit it and hopefully turn it into like an hour and a half, 2-hour movie.
Mhm.
And then it's either going to be just a normal documentary or more about our experience, like the trip, and see like our point of view about everything.
Mhm.
And then
Maybe
and we
tour
don't-
with it.
maybe tour with it, like show it to people, but we're not trying to make any profit out of it or
Yeah.
anything. It's just like maybe a boost for other projects later on. But
And create connections between the U.S. and France,
yeah,
hopefully.
also a lot. I think it's more about the joy of traveling and like meeting people and seeing old friends, and then the experience of like we're so lucky to be able to do that. And like I don't know if all the people we met are punks or whatever, but all the houses we've been to, mostly on the East Coast, because none of us had ever been on the East Coast before, except New York, but it's kind of not the East Coast, different. But we found a lot of people on the internet or from other people that we met to give us phone numbers, and we called these people, and everyone's been incredibly nice and let us stay in their houses even though they had never talked to us before, and let us interview them and like
Eat
fed
their
us
food.
and like give us a better. It's been incredibly nice.
So is that how you usually find people? Is just through like other people? Connections, stuff like that?
connections, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
punk
it was-
houses and stuff?
It's really easy to see all the connections. Like sometimes we go in a city and we're gonna meet some people, and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, you should talk to these people at this house and everything." And we go, and it's like that. It's like most of the time worked really well. It worked the best in DC because I guess a lot of people are saying that the scene is smaller, but people are really tight and they know each other very well, so it worked out very well for us.
Any crazy stories or anything like that so far?
Any crazy story?
There were a lot of crazy stories. We went on tour for 2 weeks with our friend David, who
Spoon
plays
Boy?
Spoon Boy, also plays in the Max Levine ensemble. He's from Washington D.C.
Uh-huh.
And we had a lot of fun with him. A lot of crazy stories involving police in Minnesota.
Finding a baby squirrel.
Finding
in
a baby
St.
squirrel,
Paul,
taking care of it.
collecting rocks.
Collecting rocks,
Listen.
swimming in Lake Michigan in 3 different states.
Oh,
That was really fun. Driving through Iowa, it was intense.
why was that intense?
Lots of
Yes.
cornfields. They're like in a weird town, but one of the greatest show of the tour.
Really?
That was not expected at all. And by
Meeting-
yourselves is just like sleeping next to train tracks sometimes, like once because it was out of luck or poorly organized that day, or
Meeting the same douchebags on 2 coasts.
oh yeah,
Oh,
meeting
really?
like it's crazy how like we see people in so many different places that are so far from each other, and we just see them again. Sometimes they're really great. Sometimes we barely know them, and sometimes we just don't want to see them.